The Kenya Business Ecosystem Summit held in Kisumu County brought together governors from the Lake Region Economic Bloc along with deputy governors and county executive committee members. At the event, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ndungu emphasized the need for a heightened collaboration between national and county governments and the private sector to mobilize financing for infrastructure development. He stressed the importance of modernizing infrastructure to boost trade and investment, highlighting the crucial role of public and private partnerships in overcoming financial constraints and public debts. Ndungu also commended the government's commitment to expanding critical infrastructure in the upcoming financial year 2023-2024, with the aim of promoting local trade, job creation, and economic vitality. He urged governors to leverage their counties' advantages and praised the partnership between national and county governments to establish industrial and aggregation parks.
This can even also be through, the county can even prosper through aggregation process, where the county government has abundant resources like Kisumu County, with fish, vegetables, and other commercially viable resources. And then the national government can partner with the county governments to develop those industrial parks. For example, the national government has provided conditional grants on industrial parks. Those industrial parks are going to be centers of aggregation and value addition to farmers and even other manufacturing industries, that's agro-industry. And various investors can secure those places either in terms of trading or even manufacturing. But the most important thing is that the investors will find a nice and secure place for their market and for their produce. This is going to be a good signaling. The government has allocated those resources in the current budget for that purpose. And this will increase production, create jobs, and obviously when markets are working, you not only create increased production, but also you raise productivity. And it also create jobs at the county levels, and it's going to secure incomes for those participating in the markets, in those market segments that are going to be provided by the industrial parks. So I have 3 points to make in relation to markets, because I'm a person who defends markets. And for those of you who know my history, I work through markets. I always make logic out of markets. The first thing is that we have to develop markets. We have to be conscious about what market segments we can develop, what comparative advantage we have in those segments of the market. And we can develop the markets and make sure that they function very well. That's the first one. The second one is that once the market is developed, it is functional. It's our responsibility as policymakers to nudge the market towards the optimal path. Because again, markets do not work by themselves. And so if we nudge the markets to the optimal path, then they can realize their full potential and they can also be accessible. The third one, which I find very, very important, is that once markets are developed, once markets are functional, once we have nudged the markets to their potential path, then we have to regulate them. Regulation is very, very key. But we cannot start by regulating the markets. It is the end result of seeing that the markets are functional that then we regulate them. And the regulator must adopt two principles. Most of the time I call them the institutional DNA. The two principles are that the regulator must understand the legal framework, or what I call, in the street language we say, the rules of the game. And the second thing is that the regulator must define appropriate incentives. This is the reward structure. And we do believe that once you have well-defined legal framework or the rules of the game, and combined with the incentive structure, the incentive mechanism, then you can encourage prudent behavior in the marketplace, and the market will be vibrant. That is how markets function and are sustained.
As the Lake Region Economic Bloc, we aspire to work together. We aspire our region become industrial, and as we have heard from my colleague, each of our counties is developing aggregation and industrial park. So we need to work together and see how we collaborate so that we do not end up competing on various business ventures. We need to zone ourselves in a way that we complement each other, the materials that are required, we ensure the production is up to date, and we ensure that the investors who will be working with us are in sync and they work together so that we achieve the impact we are aspiring to have. Finally, this region, we shall also be having economic processing zones or export processing zones in Busia and here in Kisumu. We need to have the business people who will be investing in this region to be able to collaborate and find ways to enhance each other rather than compete.
When you're talking about ecosystems, I think we're talking about the business environment, the infrastructure that we need to have, the collaboration that we need to create amongst the counties. But more importantly, I think in the region, we got to talk about what are the fundamental resources that we have that can enable us as a region attract investment. I have no doubt at all in my mind that the blue economy and agriculture may be important pillars towards creating the foundation for building up transformative business that can have an impact on the lives of our people.